Snoqualmie in position 2. And there's several things that are really important to me. One is having respectful, transparent dialogue. Be able to really talk with each other and be more open and more honest and not dismiss anybody on either side. So that's really important to me. Also, I would like to see more accountability for the rising of our utility bills, which is our water and sewer. And they've been increased 3 times, I think, over the last few years. And we just incurred a $32 million bond obligation. And in order to pay that off, I wouldn't be surprised if our utility bills went up again. So, and may just keep going up. And then my last, so I have a concern about development, and it has to do very much so with the environment. So I should tell you a little bit about myself. I moved here to Snoqualmie 10 years ago, 10, 11 years ago. I've been in Washington State since '94, and I've been a special ed and a biology teacher for over 30 years. So, and I feel very strongly about our environment. I always have. I think it's precious and important, and we have a gorgeous one here. We have one that many of us just love, going on hikes and seeing the falls and just being out there where it's very beautiful and calm, etc. So my question is, can we have more citizen involvement? Can we have more dialogue about what is going on? Can the developers who are I don't know what their profits are, but maybe they stand to make quite a bit of money on a $500,000 home, an $800,000 home, even, a condo for $400,000. They stand to make a certain amount of money. And are they really supporting our community for the kids, for our water and sewer, just getting the water and sewer to the various new houses, not to mention the traffic impact? It's quite difficult here. You can't just let's build another road that goes up and down Snoqualmie Parkway. That may be very difficult to do. So my goal, what I'd really like to see happen is can we on city council and as part of the city government support the needs of the residents more than we support the needs of the developers? I mean, I understand they need to make a profit, etc., and make money. And I don't want to shut the door, but I would like some really important questions to be answered thoroughly and honestly. Now, I understand that Snoqualmie City has pledged to become a K4C city. That is King County cities collaboration. There you go. And that collaboration, we have promised to reduce our greenhouse gases by 20% by next year and 80% by 2050, which can be done. Portland has done it, other cities have done it. We can really do it if we put some effort into it. And I would really love to know what exactly we are doing towards meeting these. These are very good guidelines, and we promised we would do it, and Mayor Larson has been quite a figurehead in some of the meetings that the K4C people have been running. So why can't we ask the developers why can't we make codes that would have green building requirements? And can we come up with, we're smart, creative people, can we come up with a creative solution? We've overbuilt past what the transportation, the bus service, etc., can get out to us on a regular basis. So for an example, I flew back from Washington, D.C., where I was lobbying for a climate bill, and it only cost me $1, but it took me 3 hours to get back from the airport on public transportation. I'm delighted I could do that, but it'd be really nice if we had a really creative solution so that we could address how frazzled we are. Everywhere else, Bellevue and Issaquah and Kirkland and 405, many of our citizens have such a tough commute, And then they gotta race back here and get their kids to all their activities. And then we're dumping more and more people onto, this road and 202, et cetera. And our traffic studies are only looking at 2 blocks from each of the developments. So what can we do that's creative, that will help us get our greenhouse gas footprint down a little bit? So people, at least they could relax on some kind of decent transportation that gets them there without it taking 2 hours. Who has 2 extra hours, that's 4 hours a day, to get to your job and back? Or who wants to kind of rob their daily happiness by fighting traffic, back and forth in your single occupancy vehicle? So anyway, I think we can do a lot better for our environmental concerns. Another concern I don't have a specific program, but can we think a little bit more about Roundup, also known as glyphosate? So the city used to use glyphosate on trails to keep them clear. I know they don't have enough people to keep it clear. It's a lot easier to spray something. I don't know if they're still doing that, but I can tell that the golf course is using it. Again, I'm sure they can't afford all the people to pull up all the, cut down or whatever. But maybe we can come up with a creative solution beyond glyphosate, which is starting to be proven as a carcinogen. So anyway, my goal in general is thoughtful, respectful communication that's more transparent. And can we support the citizens of this, the residents of this town? I think we can do a better job.
I've got a creative proposal for you on glyphosate. We can just ban commercially available herbicides. There's no legitimate reason for us to be spraying toxic chemicals in our environment when we live uphill from a major river.
Exactly.
And that chemical contamination ends up in the Puget Sound. It affects the salmon population and every other wildlife habitat, which, by the way, we export internationally. It's an embarrassment that we're contaminating the Puget Sound knowingly here and not doing anything about it. So I don't see a priority anywhere in the world to eliminate weeds from a trail or a golf course when the costs are so great. And this is a cumulative effect. This ends up in our drinking water, ladies and gentlemen. We have to treat those chemicals. And they say, oh, well, it's safe for humans. Really? Poison that kills plants or insects is safe for us? No, it destroys the environment that we live in. So I beg to differ, and I don't see a good reason to keep herbicides around. I'd love to hear the counter argument, but that would be my solution. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Elaine, if you were to become council member here, another lady council woman, would be nice for a change. What would you try to do to find out where we stand fiscally and when there's so many questions about debt, lawsuits? I mean, I'd like to know what kind of financial shape we are in. And if we allow more developers, hey, can we take a time out? Or are certain people trying to push things through for the council to make quicker decisions? No, stop, time out. And then the school board, where are they gonna put the kids? And what about, is the school board, do they have a swim team at the high school? And if they do, why didn't they put a swimming pool, like Olympic swimming pool, for them to have meets? I mean, things are just.
Yeah, we're not quite step in step with what we need.
So you're up against a lot of challenges, and I wish you the best.
Yeah, so.
I really do.
Thank you. I think we could be looking at the warrants and sort of thinking about what we'll be spending money on.
Yes.
One question I have, I don't know everything about all the people in the city, but we have 2 attorneys, or we have an attorney and we're hiring an attorney. Most cities our size, we're only 13,000 people as of last year's, whatever I could find. And most cities our size have 0 attorneys. And I understand we have a lawsuit, I don't know what it's about, but it's $500,000 have been spent not using our attorneys, but outside attorneys. So So I don't know what's going on, and it's really frustrating, and I would like to ask some very serious questions about who are we hiring and why do we need all these people, and can we just have a dialogue? Please trust us that you can give us the information, so I will really be fighting. But I don't wanna hassle the city and say, give me all these records, but I think the city should become a place where a culture of openness and transparency. We're paying a lot of money, we really deserve better treatment, that's all.
Absolutely.
Well, and you guys as citizens too, you know, you've heard of Freedom of Information, the Privacy Act. You can request these kinds of financial records from the
Absolutely.
city and view them for yourself, and they have to give them to you.
Yes.
Just something to think about.
Oh, yes, I know.
Okay. All right, next, Sean, are you awake?
Oh, yeah. I'm very much awake.
I'm gonna excuse myself.
Oh, you're gonna, what? Becky, you've not heard me
No,
talk
I
about
just
your
wanna
life.
get a better look at you from,
Oh.
because there's a beautiful building and the trees and the coloring is
Something
perfect.
prettier to look at, I get it, Yeah.
I don't wanna make James nervous.
My name is Sean Sanwal. I was appointed in April of 2017 to city council, and then ran in November of 2017 and won that election. And so, because of the cycle that I'm on, I get to run again. And then I'm told after this, I actually have to wait 4 years to run again, because I love to run, so I'm really disappointed to have people run. Anyway, my family and I have 4 kids. They range in age from 16 to 22, so I've got 1 left. And we moved here in 2005, just down the street from in the backyard of Carolyn Simpson, who's here today. And we've loved every minute of it. I've started 2 small businesses here. My office is in downtown Snoqualmie. I live here on the Ridge. I love working in downtown Snoqualmie. It's a treasure to be down there, it really is. I ran for some reason somebody talked me into running to be appointed to council, and I snickered, I guess, 7 people or 6 people into saying that I should be. And then, but the reason I got involved is I've known Jeff and Carolyn for a long time. I was on one of the many failed, part of the many failed high school bonds. I remember sitting in Mary Alice's house with you and Joel, and you might have been there anyway, trying to figure out how we're going to get 60% of people to agree on anything, let alone spending gajillions of dollars, right? And so I've been involved in education a lot, I've been involved in the community. I coached at the high school, I've coached track for 8 seasons and cross country for 5 seasons. And I love kids. I love this community. It's why I chose, when I could have opened an office in Issaquah, it's why I chose to open an office here, because I love it here. My goals, I focus on trying to control things I can and not worrying too much about the ones I can't. And one of the lessons I learned in municipal government is that one of the beauties of it is it's like nonpartisan. It's just kind of like we have like stuff that affects people every day of their lives we get to talk about and work on. It's the same in the school district, right? And so I've chosen to focus on the things, many things have been discussed here that are awesome, that we as a society as a whole need to work on and really try and get our arms around. But for the purposes of my role, many of those things are outside the scope of anything I can do other than have an opinion on. And so I've chosen to focus kind of on 4 areas, same as when I ran in November, and that is on transparency. So I don't want to overstep this, but pretty much the reason we have city council meetings on camera is because I started that initiative. And that was the very first thing I ran. The signs you'll see in the fall will say leadership that listens, right? That's my theme. And I wanted transparency from the very beginning. Now, transparency is a big word. You hear it thrown around a lot, and it means a lot of different things to different people. But I wanted people to have access to city council meetings. And so we got that within 3 or 4 months. That was all set up, and it's been great. It's been great to have those. People can go back and watch them. That is a way for us to take government legislation out of a room of 10 to 12 people who show up every week and the 7+ administration that sit up there, right? And so that was an important thing. So that was sort of putting my money where my mouth was, on transparency. One of the struggles though is I feel like we've made a lot of strides in transparency. You know, with the video recordings of the council meetings, and we have made ourselves available like no city council has ever made themselves available in the history of the city. We're holding quarterly town hall meetings. We're doing coffee with a council member. Starting the first council meeting in July, we'll be showing up at 6:15 to have discussions and conversations with citizens that Robert's rules don't allow us to have in a standard city council meeting. By the way, I hate the format of city council meetings, but it's how they work. You guys can appreciate that Robert's rules are what run political meetings in our country, and that's fine. But it doesn't allow us to engage in a way. And so we're at first council meeting, I believe, every month, 6:15 for 45 minutes before council meeting starts, we're accessible. One of the challenges I found though is there's transparency and then there's engagement. So voter or citizen engagement, right? So when you hold a meeting, you hold your breath and you hope people show up, right? On a sunny, you know, we had almost 100 people show up when we had our last, our Q2, sort of wasn't a town hall, but anyway, what served as a town hall on the community center, right? That was great. We had 80 to 100 people that showed up and gave us real feedback. In September, we will have one of the first public meetings ever held in the new high school. And that will be about, I believe, future growth. Jim is what we decided to talk about on that. And so the idea is it's one thing to broadcast something, it's another thing to go where the people are. And that's what we've been trying to do that more than any other city council in the history of the city. So I do scoff a little bit when I hear that we aren't transparent. We can hold meetings and we hope people come, we try and make them interesting topics. So we'll continue to do that whether people show up or not, because I believe that's our duty. And I frankly like it. Another pillar of mine is, these two go hand in hand, but economic diversity, diversification of our tax base, and responsible growth. So I also bristle a little bit about this growth surge that we're going through. Snoqualmie Ridge was signed by Fuzzy and by Matt, right? So all the growth you're seeing here has nothing to do with what the city council as it currently exists has done, right? The only thing I can think of that we've done that has anything to do with growth is we approved what we basically had to approve for the Salish when Fuzzy, I believe rightfully, entitled that to the Muckleshoot tribe. We had basically no choice but to approve that, and we did that. And we approved the winery to go on the parking lot. I can't think of anything else that we've approved growth-wise. We actually, this is prior to Jim being on the board, we shot down the Snoqualmie Hills West End Station. Why? Well, I'll tell you why I did. That is because it did not meet the what we need as a city. So Jim had talked about how do we support an aging population. You talk to Sherwood, Kirsten over here at the thing. So every weekend we have people that are older moving out of this community because they can't afford to live here. Or not only can they not afford to live here, they might be able to afford to live here, but they don't have the infrastructure that's in place, the community in place that older folks like to have, right? Unless you want to pay a gazillion dollars and join the TBC, right? Maybe it's not a gazillion. And so that community did not meet that threshold, at least not for me. There was a bunch of houses that were 55 and over, 50 and over, that were gonna be $800 to $1.2 million. We have that. It's called Curtis, it's called Fairway Place, we already had that. And so that's why I shut that down, or I was one of, I think we were unanimous on that, one of 7 that didn't agree with that. But responsible growth is gonna happen. It's in the UGA for a reason. And there could be a point in time that if we don't responsibly, if we don't act on annexing those UGA pieces into our city, the county can take them back, and they can develop however you want. Does anybody want King County developing the valley for us? I don't. So we have to come up with a plan that will responsibly develop what's left of our UGA, which is not a lot, but it's enough. And it's enough that if done inappropriately, would not go well. Hats off to Fuzzy and Eugene Hansen and to Mayor Larson. I think Snoqualmie Ridge was started 30 years ago.
1988.
When? 30 years ago? Look around. This is a very, very happy, safe community. whatever you had to do with that, thank you, Fuzzy. I live here and I love it, and I think for the most part, it's turned out to be great. There's all things that we can complain about the affordable housing that went sideways, and complain about the hotel that wasn't noticed properly, but as a whole, okay, we live in a great community, right? And so my job is one of 7, is to make sure that whatever happens from a growth perspective happens in the same responsible way that I believe Snoqualmie Ridge, for the most part, was handled. That dovetails into economic diversity. So I don't know how the school district does this, because they don't really have any other way to tax or get money. But as a city, we have an opportunity to diversify. Right now, help me, Jim, I think we're still over 50% of our tax base comes from property taxes.
A little less.
A little less than that, but like 44x high, 48, 49, somewhere there. That's too high. That is too high. We need to be more dependent on non-property tax revenues. And one of the other reasons why I didn't like Snoqualmie West is because the little itty bitty footprint they had for business growth was itty bitty. Bunch more homes, right? And so we're actually talking here right now, how can we make a portion of that Snoqualmie West that was not annexed, how can we annex this upper portion, if possible, and bring the type of business services to our community that do not currently exist? What about a home where older folks can live, thank you, assisted living facility, right? We don't have that. And actually, there aren't really a lot of them around, right? Talk about die in place, I think is the term, or age in place, sorry. You will die in place, I promise you that. But there are opportunities beyond housetops that we have to expand to provide additional services for our residents, and to do so in a way that will economically sustain us better. This hockey arena, I don't think it's anything to do with that. Not much we can do to stop it, because it's zoned for that. That's tremendous. I think about what that soccer field does down in Preston for those handful of businesses, when 4 billion soccer players come every weekend to buy stuff. That's gonna be a tremendous thing for our city, right? But that's it, we're out of parcels. So what do we do as part of responsible growth that's not just housetops to make sure our revenue is diversified? And then my final thing is, if you haven't known, I'm a huge proponent of expanding community center. There's a lot of different nuances and things we have to figure out, but I knocked doors the very first time that we tried to get